Well, good morning to you all, good morning. It is January the 31st, 2022. Means that tomorrow I'm going to have to learn to say 2023. Wonder how many times we'll get that wrong. Anyway, I thought as it's not raining, today might be a good day for sorting out the timber to make a kitchen cabinet. Well, if I'm a little bit out of puff, yeah, he didn't help at all, incidentally. He didn't even watch. He's just come out now to see what on earth it is I'm up to. This is a piece of oak. No idea where it came from. Well, it came from the back of the garden. Where it came from before that, I have absolutely no idea. How long it has been in the back of the garden, I don't know that either. And how long it was part of a much older building, well, there is no way of telling. It is a piece of oak. Some of it is pretty gnarly. Some of it really is only fit to be used as a cat scratching post or firewood. So we're going to shift it to where I can reduce it to usable timber. What I find with these beams is when you get into them, when you discard all of the horror from the outside, the hearts of these beams tend to be very, very sound. So, with my little helper, we'll shift this and start processing. Well, some parts of this are clearly just firewood. Well, you know, allows me to cook dinner and things like that. I suspect that this was an upright post in a building, and I suspect that these little cutouts were for some sort of timber that went across for panelling or cladding or something. The good news is I can't see any iron nails. What we can see is holes. You know, these mortises that have been cut would have had a tenon in there, which when it's gone through has a... I've said this before, I don't know, are they trennels or tree nails? You know, the wooden pegs that go through and hold everything together. So, yes, I don't know where it came from. I know where some of it's going to end up. Quite a lot of this, time I've cleaned it up, is going to be firewood. I need to take at least an inch off each surface to get into the usable material. Yeah, I think before that I might just have a cup of tea. Well, the first cut just across there. This piece is only ever going to be firewood. But when we look, we can see that the wood is as sound today as it was the day that it came from the sawmill. Interesting split. That is one of the reasons why we end up taking a lot off this to extract the usable timber. As you can see, there's various problems there. But the Angelus bell is ringing, which is the sign for all of us to stop work. And meanwhile, the Skoda Appreciation Society are, well, what are we doing? We're using the Skoda as somewhere to keep out of the way of lunatics cutting firewood. Well, there we are, a matchstick. Yeah, this, I've just milled this out of one of the pieces that I pulled out of the bottom of the garden. Time you've knocked all the rubbish off it, you're not actually left with much, but for making some sticks of furniture, I think we're in business with this. That will be stuck out of the way for now. We'll leave it to rest. And you might think, well, this is madness. Yes, it is. Yes, I could have found someone who would sell me some pieces of oak. I could have done. It's actually not as easy as all of that. A lot of the hardwoods, you know, the shops don't sell hardwood. They sell that awful sustainable forest stuff that warps before it gets to the shop. But even if I found someone who was willing to sell me sawn or plain square edge or milled or whatever oak, they wouldn't be selling me 300-year-old pieces of oak, would they? So there we are. I'm going to carry on playing this game for a little bit longer. Not quite sure how I'm going to get that piece on the saw table. I guess leaving it there to sort of settle down and dry out a bit is probably the best thing to do with it for now. And of course the byproduct is incredibly usable and rather good firewood. Well, last job of the day. While I was lugging timber, a neighbour came and invited me to share a glass with some other neighbours this evening. Apparently the 31st of January 2022 is, well, it has some importance. So I guess I really ought to knock some of the crud off of those and make myself presentable.